God, we're going live.
Well, officially, Rich Williams is here, so we can start.
Chairman, you're live.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our September 8th, 2021 Planning Board meeting. Would you all please join me in the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all. Thank you. I thought because we're only 3 days away from the 20th anniversary of that horrible day, that maybe we'd have a moment of silence. Think about all the people that lost their lives, and unfortunately, all the ones that gotten sick and illnesses and died from volunteering and working down there. So if you'll just join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Steve?
Chairman John Curry.
Here.
Vicky Gannon,
Here.
Nancy Gerbino,
Here.
Dennis McNamara,
Here.
Jack Mattis,
Here.
Bruce Prince, Christopher Zaberto.
Here.
Thank you. First on our agenda is minutes for approval from August 11th, 2021. If there's no changes or additions, I make a motion that we approve the minutes as presented from August 11th, 2021.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Unanimous.
So first on our agenda is two public hearings. The first one is for the Steinberg Wetland and Watercourse Protection Permit application for a property located at 3 Tall Trees Court. And this is for the application for installation of a patio and in-ground pool within a wetland buffer. For the record, the property is located in an R80 zoning district. Will the applicant's representative like to give a brief presentation of where we're at?
Chairman, I don't believe the applicant's here. We issued a comment memo in August.
saw that.
And the applicant has not yet responded to our comment memo,
Okay.
but I believe the applicant is now
Oh,
here.
there you are. Okay. You're on. Take your time.
Sorry about that. I was upstate New York, just made it by the skin of my teeth.
It's tough to be first.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody.
Evening.
We tried to really do some postponement here. And due to a very bad circumstances, Roy was unable to, Roy Frederickson, the engineer, to comply with the comments. I don't know if he spoke with you about it or not.
Not yet, no.
And we did not get the chance to get the comments addressed, so we apologize about that. They should be in your office by this coming week.
Okay. Well, we'll obviously then we'll continue the public hearing, but I'm going to open it in case there's anybody that would want to speak tonight. Do you have anybody, Vicky, Nat?
No text messages.
Okay. Paul? Okay, great. Do you have anybody from the public that wants to speak on this issue? No?
I'll move.
Okay, then
Continue it.
I'll make a motion that we continue the public hearing until the next meeting.
No
Second.
problem.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Again, I apologize.
That's
about
fine.
the confusion. We'll see you at the next meeting.
Okay,
Thank you.
Best wishes to everybody.
yes. Next is the application for the Orphe Wetland and Watercourse Protection Permit, and this property is located at 12 Manor Lane. And this is also for a pool, but also for a patio and a pool house. And it's within the wetland buffer. And for the record, this is in an R80 zone also.
Hello, I'm Dan Sherman, landscape architect for Stephen Orphe, representing 12 Manor Lane, where we, as you said, proposing a swimming pool that's partly, mostly in the 100-foot wetland buffer. And we had the wetland marked out, just repeating from the last meeting, by a wetland scientist, and that bumped the buffer up further than we thought originally when we thought of doing the project. But our engineer has engineered the drainage to work in the open lawn. We're not removing any trees. My diagram looks kind of like a stock chart with the buy, sell thing. The orange represents the actual marked wetland. The blue line is the 100-foot buffer. The green line is the edge of the existing woods that we are not intruding into. And then the purple zone, the dark purple zone, is the amount that Steve suggested that we add that's existing impervious area within the wetland buffer. So we added that since the last meeting to our drainage calculations. That's what we're proposing. And we did, Chris Uchig is our engineer for the stormwater, and he did submit drawings, and I think we had a pretty favorable review that everything had been addressed. Some notes refer to things that need to be inspected or done prior to the issuance of the permit. Just a couple items like that. Maybe Steve can address those, but.
We get a slight turn of the thing, so
Mhm.
because it's really,
Vicky, does that help you if you look at there?
oh, yes, perfect, okay. If I
Orange
switch,
line is the actual wetland
Yeah.
buffer, the wetland line, the marked that one. The green is the edge of the woods that we're not intruding.
Sir, just take the mic out if you can, please. I'm sorry about that. Thank you.
I'm still trained to look in this direction.
I know.
I know, I'm-
Thank
This
you.
is kind of peculiar to have it, not having you look at it. The green line represents the edge of the existing woods. We're not touching anything within the woods. And then the blue line is the 100-foot buffer. Probably should have flipped the colors when I think of it, the blue for the wetland, the orange for the buffer, but anyway. And this purple zone is the area that we added to the drainage calculation that shows the existing, it was the existing patio and a portion of the driveway that are within the 100-foot buffer. And there's the pool and the existing patio, just in the lawn. The drainage chambers are also in the lawn, so we're not disturbing the woods. And in the woods, there's some skunk cabbage and ferns and things, so we're not touching that. The septic field is over here on this side. We're approaching the project through the driveway, in and out. That's it.
Any other questions?
The house is-
Any more?
Do you know if during the original construction of the dwelling, if there was any issues with the wetland buffer at that time? I know that you had said that your biologist or forestry person delineated this wetland buffer, but was that the official buffer at the time? Because it looks like now the house is in it. And that's why I'm just curious.
It was a little further back and kind of vague on the survey. That was about 25 years old, I think, and so that's why I recommend to Mr. Orfeh that we get a current scientist, wetland consultant, to map it out to make sure, so that we didn't get, caught up later that we were asked to do that. So we did it. And it was a little more than it had been 25 years ago. And the buffer, 100 feet, of course, that didn't exist that long ago, that anybody adhered to a 100-foot buffer. So the house was not in a 100-foot buffer originally.
At that time.
No.
And to the consulting engineer, is that common practice that over 25 years' time that a buffer zone could change based on time, elements, and water course changes and things like that?
And the beaver that have been
And the
inhabited.
beavers.
Beaver.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
always blame the
We got
beavers.
beavers, tons of beavers.
When we work with Beth Evans a lot, she says that to her mind, they expire in about 10 years, that you really need to check it. It was my hope when I referred this that it would have gone away, but it didn't, kind of went the other way. But because when you walk back there, it really doesn't seem like it's anything to speak of, but it got a little closer because he tested the soils and the plant types as they do.
All right.
So it was
That's
more
correct, yeah.
intrusive.
So we're not concerned about that.
No, and as is the town's, or the planning board's policy or recommendation, is that we pick up existing areas that are within a wetland buffer when there's other work being done in the buffer.
Got it.
And the applicant is doing that in this case.
Okay, understood.
We
Thank you.
considered the idea of a rain garden, but felt that that would even be more disruptive, especially if we put it down into the woodlands where there's already skunk cabbage and ferns. So we're just burying chambers because then it just goes underground. Because we get good perk tests up the lawn to accommodate these chambers.
Steve, you want to go, I'm sorry, did you, anything else you want to say?
No, nothing.
Would you want to go over your memo
Yep.
Please, and your comments?
The applicant has addressed the vast majority of our comments. We really appreciate the thoroughness of the response. And those comments that aren't addressed can be conditions of the approval and or ongoing conditions during construction that the town's engineering technician can review in the field in terms of the actual percolation testing to prove out the perk rates. And so that, does the applicant have any questions on our memo? Or
Oh, no, it was very clear. I was shocked when I saw it because it was so long, but then I realized that we had just reiterated the whole
yes.
thing and said, that we addressed it. And I think, gosh, it was 6 pages of more comments at the,
No.
anyway.
Yes. No, so it's simply some paperwork that's needed. It doesn't change any of the design, but they have to provide notice of intent and MS4 acceptance form. There is, I think, one document that doesn't have a corrected limit of disturbance, either quantification or line when that was adjusted on other drawings. And then as far as the ongoing conditions, just monitoring the installations as they go in to
Okay.
ensure separation and appropriate perk tests.
Nope.
All other comments were addressed.
Before I open up the public hearing, Dave, do you have any comments?
No comments.
Okay. At this time, then I'll open the public hearing. If there's anyone.
No text messages.
No?
No one wishing to be heard. I'll move that we close the public hearing.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Chairman.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. You feel comfortable, Steve, having Dave prepare a resolution?
Yep, and as is the way that we work together, Dave prepares a draft and we review.
Right. Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Next on our agenda is New York's SMSA Limited Partnership doing business as Verizon Wireless. It's an application for a special permit renewal for a wireless telecommunication facility located at the Somers Commons, which is really 80 Route 6. You know, before I go, I hope that the town board can get some legislation going so that every applicant doesn't have to go through this. Once the structure is examined and passed, I mean, am I wrong?
No, certainly I professionally agree that there's some adjustments that can be made to the town code. We have discussed that with the engineering technician and we're reviewing the options with
Okay.
the town council
Oh,
for that.
good.
I mean, I still believe it coming before us, but it seems to me like it should be a little simpler
Yeah,
procedure.
I don't disagree. I think that's something that we can look at after November. when we
Yeah.
have a new board.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. Good evening. My name is Michael Sheridan. I'm with Snyder and Snyder, the attorneys for New York SMSA Limited Partnership, DBA Verizon Wireless. As the chair just indicated, we're here in connection with renewal of the special permit for Verizon Wireless facility at 80 Route 6 in the Somers Common Shopping Center. We submitted the documentation in connection with such renewal, we received some memos back. There were no real outstanding issues. I think the only issue in connection with this matter is there's some open building permits which do not have to do with Verizon Wireless's application. Oh, sure. Which do not have to do with Verizon Wireless's facility at this premises. And we would ask that the board waive the public hearing and approve the renewal of the special permit.
Stephen, Dave.
So Woodard and Curran did issue a memo on September 2nd. The applicant provided additional information that addressed all of our technical comments. We were just looking for some additional certification information that the applicant provided. So we have no technical
Okay.
comments on this.
How's the board feel about waiving a public hearing?
I agree.
I have no problem with that.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
This is just a renewal, right?
correct.
Existing facility, no changes to the
No.
footprint.
Nope, it's been examined.
It's been examined, engineers feel it's safe, then yeah, I'm comfortable waiving it personally.
Yeah.
And I know you always ask, they're licensed in New York, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So-
Exactly, yes. We do rely on the applicant's engineering inspection, and so we make sure that they are in fact registered and licensed, yes.
I make a motion that we waive a public hearing in this issue.
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
And then prepare a resolution.
My only question would be, can we vote on the resolution tonight, subject to, just so we don't have to come back for another meeting?
The board could vote on granting the renewal. The board does not have a resolution before it, so they would have to,
I think we'd have to see it to vote on it, wouldn't we?
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, would you like to make that motion subject to your signature? That
Okay.
we wouldn't have to come back?
All right. I make the motion and that the resolution, once presented to the board, is for my signature, will not require appearance by your firm.
Great. Could you also vote for sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Could you also vote for just the approval? So I know that that's
I thought we just did.
to renew it.
Well, that's what the resolution is. So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the resolution is your renewal.
Is your renewal.
It's a grants for the
We,
renewal.
we will prepare the resolution. The chairman will sign it long before the next meeting.
Is that your understanding what's going to happen? Okay, great.
All right. So next, so you're good?
I'm good.
Okay. Our next one is for a renewal also. And this is the address for this is 250 West Hill Drive, which is up in Heritage Hills. And it's a limited partnership with Verizon Wireless also.
Yes. Good evening. My name is Michael Sheridan from Snyder and Snyder, attorneys for New York SMSA Limited Partnership, DBA Verizon Wireless. Very similar to the previous application, we're here in connection with the renewal of the special permit application, special permit for Verizon Wireless facility at Heritage Hills. Similar to the last application, we received some memos. I don't believe there are any outstanding comments. And unlike the last one, there are no issues with the building permit that have been raised. Outstanding building permits, Verizon or otherwise, and request that the board waive the public hearing and grant the renewal of the special permit.
I would just like to state for the record that I live in Heritage Hills. I own the unit I live in. I am not near the facility. I do not have any conflicts. So I just like to state it for the record.
John,
Yes.
can I just make one comment with regard to, there's a problem with the street names in Heritage. This facility is not on West Hill Drive South. So it's on another road, which is known as Pondview. It's a major road, but it's got the wrong the name. Also, when we get to Rick Williams,
Repeat the address that you say it's really on, please.
no, I don't know what the address is because all I know is that the one that is on the application is wrong because it's not West Hill Drive South. West Hill Drive South is a road that goes, that leads up to Pondview, and then you turn left onto Pondview and go down maybe a half a mile or a quarter mile, you get to the facility, which is up on a water tank. So I'm just bringing up a point of interest that the names are wrong. Also on Rick Williams, on the next procedure regarding the miniature golf, there's also an incorrect statement of the roads. He has two roads, both of them named West Hill Drive South. That's not the case. It's just a point of order that I think eventually Dave should deal with and somehow correct, because we're making resolutions on incorrect addresses.
Do we have a current survey of this property?
We need to confirm with the building department whether there's an existing survey of the property, but the tax map number is in the resolution. So, it is parcel 1705-20-2, regardless of the change in road name that has happened over time.
I don't have the west. I have it as 250 West Hill Drive. Nothing about south.
I believe south is on the application.
Oh,
250 West. So we have the right plot numbers.
The section block and lot.
okay.
All right, so I've seen traffic back and forth between the Board of Fire Commissioners
Yes,
regarding
Names.
Heritage Hills and road names, that there
Correct.
is a disconnect between the official town road names and what I'm assuming is Heritage Hills management decided to name them, during the construction phases.
Yeah.
Does this sound like, and is it possible, Bruce, that this is part of that issue that other sectors in the town are trying to manage at the moment?
No, it's not. These roads were, the roads that we're talking about were established at the initial development of Heritage Hills. The issue you're talking about is, and there's there's 2 sides or 6 sides to this story, that when Con Ed wanted to bring gas into Heritage Hills, they made a statement that they could only deliver gas to street addresses, okay?
With names.
With names. So they would not deliver gas to, let's say, 722 Heritage Hills, Somers, New York, which is the actual address of a unit. So they ended up making that's when they made these strange signs, which I guess happened somewhere around 1990 is my best guess, because I live in 25 and we're the last condo that doesn't have gas. So I assume and ours was built in 88 and 89. So what happened is, and this is what John Mackey has been pushing for the last year and a half, that when Con Ed wanted the names put up, they put up names. Some of the names are possibly, if not duplicates, are close to other street names in Somers. So they're saying they have a whole problem. However, the security people who also get any 911 calls are fully aware of where these addresses are. So there's now a discussion between the fire department wanting to either legalize the names or have them taken down. So that's still up in the air. So we don't know what's going on. Sorry.
So so then let me ask, is this just a typo maybe on the name? Is the plot numbers correct and not related? I just want to make sure that we can correct it on any resolution.
Yeah.
The resolution will state 250 West Hill Drive South. That's the name that was on the application, and it will state the section, block, and lot.
Well, the
Section, block, and lot, we know is right.
Yes, correct.
That's correct. The other problem
Unless the survey shows something different. Right?
Well, the problem is that when I
Then I would rather have the correct address
Hang on, Bruce.
in the resolution.
We don't have a correct.
If it's-
We'll review it with the building department and make sure we have the
Yeah.
correct address in the resolution.
Okay, Steve, one of the problems is that if you go and see the tax assessor's lots, maps, a lot of the roads are not on the map. So you may have problems with that. I don't know why that happened. That was before my time, so I don't know what's going on. But it would behoove everybody to make sure that all the roads and street names are correct, so we don't have a problem in the future for the planning department having given approval for a property that's not technically accurately described. It's just a point of information. I don't know what to do about that.
Oh, Mr. Chairman, as part of the application process, I did share with the building department the specific address for this application, and they came back with an understanding of the activity that was occurring at that site. So it is recognized by the building department.
Okay.
So I would
Oh, it
rely
is.
upon that for this.
It is.
application.
Who's
It is,
recognized
yes.
as a building?
So
I asked, because I specifically asked them, were there any building permit issues, just like with the previous application, that the planning board should be aware of? And they came back and said, no, there are no outstanding building permit issues on this particular application with this subject address.
Okay. Okay.
Well, if that's the official address to the town, then keep it as is.
Well,
And
That's,
to Bruce's point,
that's
there
it.
probably should be some sort of
That said,
resolution to that.
that said, I think it's ridiculous. This has been going on not for 1 year. This has been going on for 4 years of minutes that those roads are not recognized. It should be, I think it should be an issue. We should issue from this planning department to the town board that the issue should be resolved. It's ridiculous. And I'm sure the people in the society would agree.
Good idea, Nancy.
The street name should be corrected.
I agree.
I don't care whose fault it is. That's not important.
No.
Okay.
So Dave or Steve, you have no comment? You feel comfortable with this also?
Yeah, no further technical comments.
And board, you feel comfortable if we don't schedule a public hearing?
Agreed.
Okay,
Agreed.
I'll make a motion that we do not have a public hearing.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
And I also make a motion that a resolution is prepared for chairman's signature.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for your patience while we had this other discussion.
Yes.
Here.
Rich, I don't think we can hear you tonight because we don't really know where you are. Okay, is that all right with you?
1000 West Hill Drive. Here we go again.
Yeah, you got stuck in
For the record, this is a informal presentation for site plan modifications at 1000 West Hill Drive.
You didn't know it took a half hour.
Not to be fixed till about midnight from what I hear. So good evening. Rich Williams, Insight Engineering, and I'm here on behalf of Somers National for a conceptual plan review. Here with me tonight is Mr. Quentin Liu of Somers National Golf Club. And we're excited to initially present what we hope to be a series of improvements at the golf club and the Somers Point Grill. Looking at the plan I brought with me this evening, you can see we have, and I'm going to be careful with my road names, the physical address of the property as per the assessment roll and where we get our mail is 1000 West Hill Drive. I have West Hill Drive here. This, I believe, is the road that Mr. Prince referred to as Pond View, which would be along the bottom page. We have the existing clubhouse in the light brown here, and the existing maintenance barn in the light brown. And what we're seeking to do is 2 improvements to the existing maintenance barn. One is we want to install a cigar bar and a terrace for the benefit of the golfers as they move through the course. And the other is we wish to construct an addition on the southern end of the maintenance facility in order to renovate that facility and construct 4 indoor golf simulators. Now, the intent of these is really to be used off-season and to help bring some business to the club during the off-season. And the cigar bar is obviously intended for in-season, but I believe you're going to have it open year-round?
Yes.
But it will be open year-round. As far as the size of the additions, we have a 56 by 32 addition on the south end of the building. And the terrace is 30 feet 8 inches by 13 feet 6 inches. Separately, we also are looking to construct a mini golf course on the property. Mini golf course is something with raising interest throughout the country. I believe Mr. McNamara circulated an article. This isn't going to be a Tiger Woods certified mini golf course yet, but we're looking to construct that on the southern portion of the property here in what exists as a wooded area. We are being sensitive to try and leave remaining woods along what is referred to now as Pond View. We are going to construct a separate parking area for the mini golf course here. We envision will have about 24 spaces, which will accommodate 4 people per hole. So 18 times 4 is 72. That would be an absolute maximum. And that also comports with what the DRD, which is the zone we're in, the Design Residential Overlay District, requires for facilities, which is one space per 3 users. What we would do is we would have a one-way out on the north end, an in and out on the south end, which connects to the existing road network. There will be lights with the court as part of our formal site, as part of the mini golf course. As part of a formal site plan submission, we'll obviously provide a full lighting plan, full stormwater pollution prevention plan. We'll do the full environmental analysis. As far as stormwater goes, we do have a concept in mind. Right now, the golf course has irrigation ponds throughout the course. To date, they have not run dry, but as a golf course, they could always use water. So we're going to be doing a lot of rainwater harvesting to capture and treat the impervious surfaces from this project. As we do believe we're going to be slightly over an acre, we will require a full SWIP for this project. Obviously, if we get into the design and we find that we're going to be under an acre, we'll modify our stormwater plan. It may just be a SWIP, but we'll see how that progresses through the design. And really tonight, what we're here for is before we start moving into full design drawings and a full set of plans, we just wanted to get your initial feedback. I know the owners have been working with society, have met them a couple of times. They've also been meeting with members throughout the town and the community just to make sure that, you know, people understand what they're doing. We know sometimes developing in Heritage Hills can be sensitive because there's a large population there. So we're doing a lot of outreach to make sure people understand what we're doing and like the concept. And that includes you folks, as you are an approval authority over this project.
A question, the name of the owner of the golf course is Heritage Hills Holdings LLC, is that correct?
That is the entity that owns the 3 tax parcels, which makes up the golf course. And the golf course is about 130, just shy of 130 acres.
And what is their relationship to Heritage Hills?
There is not. They're separate entities.
Who are the principals involved?
Mr. Lowe.
My name is Quentin Liu.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you all. I know Bruce and Jack on the teleprompter there. My name is Quentin Liu, and I've owned the property for a little over 3 years now.
Very good.
It's under Heritage Hills Holdings is the holding company name. We own the golf course. We used to own the 9-hole golf course that was on the East Hill, but we've since sold that back to the community and back to society. So it's just the 18-hole golf course in the clubhouse as Rich described.
Are you the one who renamed it the Somers
National, yes, from
May I
Somers Point.
compliment you on the name? It drove me nuts that it was called Somers Point, which is over in New Jersey.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I just want to, again, for the purpose of this record, disclose that I live in Heritage Hills. My mother also lives there. She has a unit directly on the golf course, but we are not near to the clubhouse. So as far as I can see, there is no conflict, but just for the record, that's it.
I state for the record that I also live in Heritage Hills. My unit is not near this particular section of the golf course, so there's no conflict. Also, the same goes for me. I live in condo 25, which is about a half a mile away from the site. So the same, there's no conflict.
What would be your water source to irrigate this course?
There are several existing ponds throughout the course, which are currently used for irrigation. And the way we see this project tying in is if we are required to do stormwater, we'll put in rainwater harvesting tanks that would collect water from the new impervious surfaces and use that to supplement the existing irrigation ponds.
So you're gonna draw down the same ponds that irrigate the 18.
Correct. That's what's in use now.
Rick, how are you planning to get water from that mini golf course over to your ponds, which are, I don't know, 500 yards to 1,000 yards away from the site? How do you plan to transport that water?
We haven't developed the details of how the rainwater system will work. The first step is to determine how much disturbance we have. We are very close to an acre. Whether or not we're above or below an acre, the stormwater requirements do change a little bit. Although, we do recognize this town has a past precedent of requiring stormwater for new impervious surfaces in association with site plan applications. So we certainly don't have all the details. I don't know that we're going to seek to pump this water to those ponds as much as find a way to tie it into the existing irrigation system and supplement it or use it as a primary. And again, we don't have the details worked out on that yet.
Yeah, Rick, one of the questions that has been raised by residents is that there is already a drainage problem from your site onto condo 15, which is, according to the map. Can you point to them where condo 15 is? Do you know where it is?
I believe it is to our southwest, and I'm highlighting it now.
Where? It's to the left. It's to the left.
Correct.
It runs yeah, along that road. And they already have a drainage problem.
The proposed patio would be, is about the starting point of where the drainage problem would originate.
Right. And also that the existing drainage that is for Heritage Hills is servicing that area is only 15-inch drainage pipes. So the idea of using any of that could be problematic.
That's a great point. We'll take it into consideration through the process. I had an experience similar in another community where we had a lot of drainage flowing through our property that impacted a downstream owner. And I walked into the community and said, listen, we're going to solve your problem by putting a development right in the middle. And they kind of looked at me funny and said, how does that work? And the way it works is, right now, if this water is flowing down and creating a problem downstream, by putting a development in the middle where we actually catch that runoff and move it away from the downstream development, i.e. we harvest a portion of it or a portion of the volume and take it out of the equation, we're hopeful we'll be able to see an improvement downstream. The drainage issues I've heard about for many years, even as part of past projects. So we'll be sensitive to that in the design.
One more question. The area that you're planning, it didn't show on the map, but I assume that the mini golf course is an impervious surface, right? Of approximately 22,500 square feet. Am I correct in that? There's no grass or anything there.
There's going to be a number of different surfaces in the golf course, the mini golf course. We're still working out the details of the design, but there will be a substantial amount of impervious. You're absolutely correct. And we'll put collection systems in place to collect it.
Okay, now from a previous development, which you referred to, there are approximately 80 to 100 trees on that piece of property that you're planning to put the mini golf course. Of those trees, that's 80 to 100 trees that are between 8 inches in diameter and 22 inches in diameter. That has been a sore subject to the residents of Heritage Hills. How do you plan to approach that?
One of the things we are trying to do is maintain a buffer along Pondview. In addition, we would be proposing landscaping to reinforce the existing vegetation we're leaving in place to help screening.
Okay.
I got a couple questions. One, if it's okay.
Yeah.
Can you enlighten me as to what a mini golf course is? Is it what I envision as one of these things with the windmills and you got to get the little putt through it? Or are we talking like a pitch and putt, like a 9-hole short yardage? What's a mini golf course as opposed to a miniature golf course?
So maybe the words are interchangeable in my mind. This is strictly putting. Think windmill, don't think pitch and putt.
Okay. All right. So could potentially attract youth, kids, and adults alike to come and play at a miniature golf course that's already on the grounds where there's an 18-hole golf course.
Correct.
Is that correct? Okay. And then the ability to use this, does it require an annual membership? Is that the intent? That may be a business-related question.
Nope.
Or is it like I can show up and and golf.
You can show up and play mini golf.
Okay, and then my next question is the cigar lounge only for the usage of those that are entitled to the clubhouse, or is that also open in the sense that I could come in there and smoke a cigar? Not me personally, but the residents of Somers or Heritage can utilize that, or is that part of a special event package, or is that something different?
That I don't know. We've worked the details on yet.
Yeah, we haven't worked
So-
out the final details on that, but it's primarily to supplement the current golfer.
I'm sorry, just step forward. No, it's okay.
So we haven't worked out all the details on the plan for the cigar, but it's really a complement to the existing golfers. That's the primary purpose, is to really allow them to enjoy a cigar after the round or before the round, whatever
Sure.
it may be. Obviously, it lends itself to events as well, hosting cocktails and things like that. We do have a terrace, as Rich mentioned, planned for it, an outdoor terrace, so that the smoke is sent away from the general public. The simulators themselves offer a different experience for golfers. It's, as Rich mentioned, mostly off season, which is where the peak is, where golfers can enjoy hitting a golf ball into a screen, thinking they're
Sure.
going to play at Pebble Beach. But the plan there is to also serve food and beverage, and those simulators also enable children's parties, because they can actually be converted into video arcade for children's parties, as young as 4 or 5 years old. So that's also envisioned as a plan to really kind of have that multi-use as well.
Do you intend to increase parking? I don't think we discussed that in order to facilitate, I'm assuming, the additional headcount that might show up.
Well, and that's why we're being careful in that we see these uses as the opposite of our peak uses. For instance, the arcade facilities he's talking about, the golf simulators, we don't see those increasing usage during the summertime. That's really meant to be an off-season benefit or perk. That's why, the cigar bar is there. While it will be open off-season, the idea during the season, it's really there to complement the golf, because we're not seeking to create additional parking. We're looking to take advantage of joint use of spaces.
So you anticipate the same usage, just extended into the off season. You don't anticipate at this time any additional traffic or any additional customer base, because the miniature golf and the simulators would be used in the off season.
Well, not the miniature golf. That's only used in the season.
Right. So then, so how
that
do we
would be,
address?
that would be additional
Right,
traffic.
so we see two separate components. We see the cigar bar and the golf simulators as complementary to the existing clubhouse.
Got it.
We see the mini golf course as generating additional use, which is why we are providing an additional parking.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah, so
That's,
we have 24.
I might have missed
spaces.
that. I'm sorry.
Nope. So yeah, so right adjacent to the mini golf course, we're going to install 24 additional spaces, which is based on 18 holes times four golfers or per hole, which
Right.
is 72 people. The code requires 1 space per 3 users. So that's 24 spaces.
Got it. Okay.
Rick, one question. Have you made any inquiries whether the cigar bar or cigar, I assume that's a cigar store also, they're selling cigars, right?
Correct.
Oh, okay, so it's a cigar store. Whether the cigar store and the miniature golf are permitted uses in the DRD? Have you made any inquiries regarding that?
We believe they are. We'll take a second look and just make sure.
How do you believe that? I'm not sure, I understand.
We did look through the zoning code to check the uses. We believe they would fall under some of the recreational uses and support of the golf course. But we can provide that analysis as part of our initial submission.
Also, one last question with regard to traffic that was brought up by Chris. Look at your map, and there's an entranceway to your parking lot at the bottom of your map. You see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
That intersection That is West Hill Drive south. However, the street that's going off your map is Pondview. Okay, that's Pondview. Now, at that intersection, there is basically two stop signs. That is a significant intersection. Do you plan to give us some traffic numbers? Because that's not a simple intersection. There's no light there. There's just there's two stop signs, and now you're making it a four-way intersection. Will you give us some information regarding traffic analysis?
Obviously, if the board asks for it, we'll have to provide it. From our point of view, this is an existing four-way intersection. We're not creating it. What we are doing is we are coming off the road that's already on our property, and we are providing a 24 space parking lot for 18 holes of mini golf. We don't believe that that's going to result in substantial traffic increases. Particularly
10 hours a day at 24 cars per turnover. That's another 240 vehicles a day that are potentially on the roads that are owned and operated by Heritage Hills for your golf course road to exit into. And that is an excessive amount of additional traffic for Heritage Hills. What have you thought about that?
I hear you loud and clear.
I think when, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when we get down to site plan review, I think a traffic study can be requested then. And that's something that we can look at as part of the final approval, should we get that far. So I think that these are valid concerns that the board brings up, and that you guys should now, with some foresight, kind of look in and prepare for that. But I don't know if, I recognize that you're the engineer and may not have those answers in front of you right now. Same with the zoning issue. That would be something I'd be interested in, to know if, you might need a special use permit or something in order to engage in this type of business. But again, this is just preliminary, right? And we're just, you guys are kind of, testing the waters and see where it's going to go. I think these are valid concerns. I really do. I have one additional question that I forgot to ask before. Are the residents of Heritage Hills the only ones that are allowed to use the golf course, or is this open to anyone?
No, it's a private company.
Okay,
So this is open to the public.
got it.
And to build on your point, that's actually why we're here tonight. Before we came in with a full submission, hearing your concerns, understanding what the issues are, it's going to help us come in with a more complete, thought out package.
Yeah, no, I wanted to say that, so that, and I know you probably don't, but I don't want anyone at home to think that we're badgering you on this for not having the answers, right? This is preliminary. We're sort of reviewing it to see. Bruce and Jack bring up good points. There is already a lot of traffic in Heritage. And any additional vehicle volume, we just want to make sure that it's not going to be overburdened to the current infrastructure that's in place. So, sorry, Chairman, I moved out. So you
Can I ask a question?
Okay, go ahead.
I actually have a list of questions. First, I noticed on the plans, and I do remember the site walk for the previous application that was on that side of the clubhouse area, that with the
Pool and tennis court.
yes, and it actually took place on a rainy day, and the runoff problems were evident.
Yes, very evident.
And I note that the slope of your proposed miniature golf at the, where the arrow is on here. So there's north. At the southeastern corner is 655. At the northwestern corner is 636. So is the miniature golf going to maintain that level of slope when constructed? And ancillary to that question is, I noticed that in the map of it, there are various areas that have a picture of a wheelchair, which I would interpret as it's to be ADA accessible. And so I just want to ask about slope and navigability, and et cetera. That's my first question.
On the ADA accessibility through the mini golf course, we actually have a miniature golf course designer as part of the team. So I'll follow up and understand, but I believe that is what that is for.
Yeah, I think if you're going to have those symbols, then you have to
Right.
be able to manifest evidence of it. Yeah.
Yep. And they will provide us the backup is for what is required for miniature golf courses. Generally, the intent is to maintain the slope. What you don't see on here is a finished grading plan by any means. Ultimately, I envision a series of drains within the course itself, but also some type of system at the bottom of the slope to pick off the runoff and make sure that we capture it and send it to where we want to go. But we haven't designed that yet.
Okay, and also, I note on the plan, north of the proposed activity, we have areas called dirt areas, stockpile, dirt area. I wonder to myself, looking at this, if there's something about the nature of the finished or unfinished quality of the hill that is contributing to runoff. And I think it looks like it's outside of the proposed area of work, but it is certainly included on the plan. And I can't help but see this and wonder if this does not also contribute to certainly the problems that I saw the last time I was there.
Okay.
And so I don't know how you want to respond to that, but I think it's something to note. Not something that you could see from the camera, but when you pull up the plan and look at it up close, you could certainly see it.
I think that's a great point for us to take into consideration during the design process.
I thank you. Also, in terms of the simulator, I think you're talking about that as some more of an off-peak time of year thing. Being at Mom's, because she's got a view, it seems like when I'm there in the sort of peak of the summer, that there are some midday times that there's a real lull. What is the ebb and flow of the usage during the day on those hot days? Am I imagining it, or is there like a gap in that sort of noon to 2 o'clock where people seek shade?
Yeah, that's a good observation. It's generally the case, especially when it's very hot out. Most golfers want to play early and get on with their day. I mean, that's generally the rule of thumb. We also have golfers that are interested in playing later in the afternoon because it's less heat and usually more casual. So the serious golfers are usually in the mornings. We do have you're right, a gap or a lull between 12 and 2, 12 and 3 o'clock. But that's the nature of the industry. That's the nature of the business. You'll see that in almost every golf course and every golf club.
So there's people leaving and coming in those sort of low.
Oh yeah. I mean, it generally takes, we hope that golfers will finish a round of 18 holes in 4.5 hours or less. That's our goal. Certain days when there's, issues with the weather and things like that, it could cause a slight delay, but that is a good observation, and that the early afternoon hours are usually our slowest times.
Right, so people might make use of the simulator or some other thing during that time if they were already there. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we'd keep it open, obviously.
At that point,
yes. I mean, we only have 4. We're proposing only 4 simulators, so we can only accommodate 4 groups generally. So.
And then too, in terms of the cigar bar, demographically speaking, it kind of seems intuitively to me as if there are more men golfing than women, generally speaking. Do you have a sense?
The trends are, historically it's been much more men than women golfing, but we do have a number of women golfers now, and they are starting younger as well. Yeah. So we are seeing a uptrend in lady golfers, and I don't know all the details behind the cigar demographics in terms of, but again, it's more skewed towards men. But ladies are drinking.
I feel that.
Yeah, but ladies are enjoying cigars. I don't know if anyone in this audience.
I guess I don't think it's a good idea, but hey,
Scotch and a cigar or a bourbon cigar. That seems popular these days. I mean, I'm not a smoker myself, so I wouldn't know.
Okay, we're on the same page there. Okay. All right, I think that's it for now. But yeah, particularly, I guess my biggest concern is the area north of the area of activity, and I have to say, I think that where the proposed parking is for the area of activity, the mini golf, it's feeding into an area of pavement that sort of area historically wasn't even well maintained. Before your time, not your fault, before your time. So I don't think there was a lot of usage of it, but there may be more now. And I don't actually turn down that hill a lot, so I don't have a lot of first-person experience with the amount of traffic there. I tend to go straight up and over. So, yeah, I think a good look at the impact of having cars come there, meet the other, and how everybody navigates through that area safely. Always safety first.
Vicky, you brought up a very good point about those dirt areas on the plan. I would like to know if those need to be considered as areas of disturbance in this development, since you're doing work in the on the south side, and you're also doing work on the building, and in between. Right now there must be 100 trees that have been cut down from your golf course over the last 3 or 4 years that are occupying those areas. If they get cleaned up, do you have to consider those two dirt areas as part of your areas of disturbance? We'd like you to check into that too.
There's no activity proposed.
Yeah, we can take a look at the surfaces of the material there, how DEC defines it, and if it's disturbance, it is what it is, and we'll make sure we address it. We hear the concern loud and clear about that area, though.
Thank you.
You won't require a variance on height. The structure will be the same as everything else that's there.
Correct.
And you may have addressed this already, and I apologize if it was. The simulators will be indoors
Correct.
and air conditioned?
Yes. Yeah, there'll be, so the way this building is going to lay out, there's a lower level that's currently accessed from this lower driveway. Our new addition will also have a lower level. Then there's the main level, which is accessed from the top. We'll be creating from the existing sidewalk an elevated walkway, also to reach that first floor level because the slope drops down along the side of the building. And then on that main level, you'll have the cigar bar as well as the golf simulator space.
Got it. Okay.
Rich, what are the white dotted lines, and what is that white blob in the circle? The blue circle of water.
On the golf area.
Yeah,
They're fountains, I think.
it looked like it might be a fountain, but I didn't want to assume.
It's,
Within the circle.
it's, I believe, meant to be a fountain, and the white dash lines are contours. They're the 10-foot contours.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The white dash lines are the 10-foot contours.
Okay, gotcha.
And then the symbol in the center of that blue area, I believe, is a fountain.
Okay, I thought it was probably, but I just want to make sure. Thank you.
Is that an official architectural symbol for a fountain, or is that something that we?
I'm an engineer.
Okay, I got you.
No, as part of our site plan package, we'll submit the details for the mini golf course, the mini golf course designer's drawings. That way you can see in more detail what they have planned.
Steve or Dave, too early for comments?
We just provided comments generic to the application process and what kinds of applications and regulations would apply from an engineering perspective for the applicant's guidance. So no technical comments at this time, but it's a good conversation that the board has had. So thank you.
But this surface will actually be artificial turf, right? You're not even going to need irrigation for it if it's just putting.
The irrigation, you're correct. We're not going to need irrigation here, but we recognize that we need irrigation for the golf course. So we want to collect all the water.
I got you. No, I understand. Okay.
Yeah.
But this is not another draw of irrigation for this site,
No, you're
except
correct.
for the ponds, obviously. Yeah. Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, during the initial meeting that we had, one of the comments that I had is an experience with the town of Cortland that they built their own miniature golf course. And as part of that, they incorporated historic elements of the town of Cortland. If you know the toll booth that goes up to Bear Mountain Bridge, that's one of the themes. The old red schoolhouse is one of the themes. And so it was one of the things I suggested to Mr. Liu and Mr. Williams is to think about maybe incorporating some historic elements of the town of Somers as part of this course. Just,
I think that's an excellent idea.
so just as a general framework for thinking about the overall planning aspect.
I'm sure you're aware, you've done your history, that this board had approved the pool and tennis court years ago. So a lot of these issues have been brought up, that there's a way to work within the engineering to get it done.
No, understood. And we'll take the, one of the things I was thinking about that I didn't want to get into a lot of detail tonight is we'll be able to look at our traffic generation and compare it to the neg deck already issued on that previous application. And we're going to be able to show that we are less impactful. And I think really what it's going to come down to is hearing some of the comments tonight. I have some thoughts already going through my head on maybe ways to tweak this plan. Maybe ways to look at this intersection a little differently and come back to you, hopefully, incorporating all the comments we received, because that's really what we're here for tonight.
Okay. Anybody else? Any other comments? Any other comments?
Do you have anything?
I wanted to ask about Steve. You mentioned to them that they have to deal with the DEC and the DEP on this development, right? I saw that in one of the required documents. Am I correct?
Yes, that's correct. If they're over 5,000 square feet of disturbance and they're in the east of Hudson watershed, which they are, then yes, DEC and DEP provisions apply.
Okay, good.
The only question I have, I'm assuming everybody checked the ordinance. It's been a long time since I read it, but it was so specific, the ordinance, the DRD ordinance in terms of allowing the golf course and what have you, but it meets, I assume you guys reviewed that, yes?
Yes, we've done a preliminary review, and the language here seems to indicate that these uses would be allowable. I even could read from the code. Permitted uses: golf courses, swimming pools, tennis courts, riding stables, and general recreational and athletic facilities intended primarily for the use of the residents of the designed residential development. So I think that's part of the framework that they're going to have to work through with this particular application.
That's a rather important part of the DRD for the use of residents of of Heritage Hills.
Right, which is why I asked if it's open to the public.
Yes, that's why that should not be treated lightly.
There's a lot of history with respect to this golf course and the residents of Heritage Hills as well as to where it is today. We are trying very hard to keep it a successful operation, to continue to make it an engaging place for the residents as well as for the public so that it can be economically viable. And that's a lot of what we're here tonight bringing forward, is plans to keep it fresh, to keep people coming and to keep it viable.
It was from day one, it was open to non-residents.
Correct.
Yep.
Any other board member comments?
No.
I guess we gave you some food for thought, as they say.
No, we appreciate it. That's exactly what we wanted tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. for the-
Thank you.
Thank you.
We gave them a week of meals.
Any other board member comments, or either of you guys? No? All right. Our next meeting is Wednesday, October 13th. Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Bye.